Alright, hey, what's up guys? Here we are, hole 9 here. Very similar to our first wind. So we're going to play it very similar, but we're going to just get a little bit more aggressive this time with our ring pull. Try to get just a touch longer of a drive. So if you guys saw my first video on this, I'm going to do it very similar to that, which is essentially 1 per. I essentially go 1 per for this club. And I could show you, in the app what the ring adjustment should be, which is, 750-ish. You got to keep in mind there's elevation at play. We're going way downhill. So, your adjustment is typically more, it's something more like this. This is more or less the shot that I'm hitting, or something to this effect. This is more or less like what you should be doing. But what I do is I just shortcut. So you'll see I use no elevation, and I just know right around 1 per is about spot for this hole. And it's really just course knowledge more than anything. It's an easy number to remember. And it's only with a 7, of course. So you'd want to go a little bit less than that with a 6. Or a 5. Or a 4 for that matter, I think. I think a lot of those have the same accuracy. Except for the 7. So here's more or less what we're trying to land. And we really don't need, since we have a tailwind, we really don't need to kill this. This doesn't need to be the best drive in the world. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, like I mentioned, the 7-5. After the 7-5, we're going to just pull up 1 ring this time. And as I mentioned, this, it doesn't have to be an absolute perfect drive. So as long as I hit around that spot, I'm going to be satisfied. I don't need to get this into the 300s. Now, could it help me if I am? Yes. And here you can see I actually got it out to 309. And then got a tailwind. This is one of the main reasons that I didn't want to overdrive it, because what you'll see is now I kind of get myself in between. I can't use this route anymore. But if it would have been straight headwind, I could have. So it was really just a bad wind. So for instance, I would have been able to land here, go my rings. So it was bad wind more than anything. But what we're going to do is Pegasus. It's not my ideal play with this tailwind. It's probably as tough as we could have had it. Pegasus 4. So this really alters our ability to be aggressive on this approach. It's more about just conceding and just saying, oh, well, we're just going to, we're going to give it our best go. Maybe it goes in, but we're not expecting it to go in by any means. And typically what I'll do here is definitely crank the backspin. Especially with missing ball guide, I don't want to, this is going to stretch out significantly because it's an uphill approach. So because of the fact that this is uphill, and you also got to keep in mind, this breaks to the right. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to counter the slope. So this would be my natural, if I was just trying to counter the slope. But I don't want to take off too much of this backspin, because what's going to end up happening, it's really going to stretch out. So I'm going to be very cautious. I'm going to utilize most of that backspin. And same thing with this one. This is a really awkward wind where the pull angle, especially pulling to lower ground. So if this is like my normal adjustment, you're going to see that I shift it just a little bit inside like this. So you can see that I get it just a little bit left pointed. Now, other than this, we have to keep in mind that it's also going to bounce to the left because of the wind. So I'm going to take off maybe 1.5 here. I'm going to get this real low on the side spin. And then other than that, I'm just going to go pretty close to max adjustment. 5.25, 5.3, I'm thinking. I'm pointing to so low ground. That's also something that needs to consider. But what I did was, remember, I took off that left spin, and it's because of the wind direction. Because I know bounces 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way until it stops are going to have left momentum. So it's naturally going to counter this slope. So let's just see how this looks. And you can see that it's just kind of rolling out straight. That's exactly what I was trying to do. If that would have been a straight wind, it would have took a lot of break. And that's why I started the counter. Now, I might have just took off just a little bit. I should have maybe kept it right at full 1. But you can see, more or less, that was doing exactly what we wanted it to. And it was rolling out towards the hole straight. Even though the slope's there, it's because it's left pointed and it's an uphill approach. So do factor that in. Keep all that in mind. But here you can see, we really put up, good tiebreakers. Kind of similar to this guy here. We just had the one bad Pro D1 top spin. And if it wasn't for that, we would have actually had the highest 15. And you can see a lot of these 15s, a lot of people getting it, but you can see how much their tiebreakers diminish. And it really it's about increasing that course knowledge. You'll see the top guys, the guys near the top, they're able to visualize that shot with the missing guide better and higher. So you can see I only lost about 100, but if you look at the one hole, I lost 200 points on that hole. And I easily could have had it, realistically, or if I had any other wind direction. I played pretty much the hardest wind. Now, granted, I still could have pulled the shot off, and it was just a little bit, I was probably 2/10 of a ring from being right in there close. 2/10 of a ring from 800 some points. So it really just comes down to a game of inches on some of these uphill approaches, especially when you're trying to do that rough bump. The higher you land up there, keep stuff like that in mind. But all in all, not too bad on the tiebreaker. As you can see, it's going to be really hard and difficult to drop something. But we really were able to be very aggressive and give a lot of those very good attempts. And it's only a matter of time until, you kind of luck into one or, you really hit that perfect adjustment. So keep all that in mind. Good luck. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.